Good morning, everyone. So today we're at a Mercedes A180. This is a CDI model and it's a 2015. So the customer's complaint with this diesel is a terrible whistling noise, and they reckon it's coming from the turbo, and we agree with their diagnosis. So when you rev it or going down the road, you hear the whistling. Right? So there wasn't any fault codes in the thing, but they said when they were driving along the road, they put their foot down, there was a terrible lag, and then it took off. So we decided to look at the pipes coming from the turbo here at the top. So that's exhaust gases. Well, no, the exhaust gases. The exhaust turns the turbine, and that pushes the air down this pipe, and then it returns through this pipe. So I'll show you what we found inside the pipe. So look at the gunge it comes out this pipe, and I'll show you within the pipe. That pipe is full of gunge in there. Right, I'll just wait till Roddy comes back. Right, Roddy, go and stick your mitt in there, my man, and just show it. Shit. Put your eye. I can hardly see within that pipe. Oh, it's gunged up. Just show them the muck it comes out it. Oh, your beauty. There we go. So we reckon all that gunge, that must be all the way through the intercooler, everything. So the only place that oil can be coming off is the turbo oil, or the other thing, they maybe took a gulp of water, this bad weather, not really sure. So get back on after a little cleaning, and look at the water. So there's water getting in somewhere, or through a big puddle. It's hard to see. There we go. So I can see that in there, eh? There's water. Oh, aye, look at that. Oh, the water's dripping out of there. So, update. I spoke to our turbo supplier, and what he told me is this is a 1.5 DCI engine from Renault. Therein is the problem. So when you buy a Mercedes, you're buying a Renault. Anyway, he says turbos are a common failure, so much so they keep 24 of them in stock. So we need a turbo, and what he also said was we need to bring the intercooler through to get that cleaned as well. So I spoke to the customer and I says, how come there's so much water in it? And they did say they went through a rather large puddle. So, we also checked the air filter, and it was quite dry, so I don't know where the water's went in about, or when it's got in, or over a period of time this is dried out, don't know. But the conclusion is it needs a turbo and the intercooler cleaned out. I also asked her if she was going through any coolant, and she said no, so we can rule out a leak, because I asked the guy, is there a cooler on the turbo or anything like that? He went no, not straightforward. So, but what he did say was it's not an easy job because it is buried down the back there of the engine, so you can see some of the captive nuts underneath there. I think some of them you've got to do for the bottom, so no easy at all. So we'll put it back together and see what she thinks. Now we've actually left this car for over a week, and you hear it's worse, listen. Like a scolded cat. So watch the boost pressure. When I put my foot to the floor, now bearing in mind this has got rev limiting. Didn't like that. The numbers is... Oh. It's gone down the way. 'Way. Let's give it a little run, but I don't think we'll be going very far. I think this turbo's stuck. Let's see if there's any fault codes. Right there, it's here, boost pressure. Degrees, coolant, duty cycle of turbo, engine speed, exhaust back pressure, upstream of turbocharger. Look at that figure. That's awfully high, that's like 7 psi. But when key off, key back on, it then drops to 256. He roughly recovers to atmospheric. Well, these two should be the same, eh? Atmospheric and that one there. So there's no any codes. Need fault codes. Note. Let's give it a run. So I thought the final bit of the puzzle here is to smoke the intake, because air leaks can make a whistling noise for a turbo. So we bought this gadget here to do the intake. So there it said the bladder takes up the circumference of the air intake, and then we just put our smoke machine through there. So let's test this for any leaks. There you go, that's our smoke machine spooled up, plenty of smoke. So we'll put our hose on it. Right, do that, right. So you can see I've already taken the oil cap off, you've probably seen that. That's pressurising the system, so that's good. So we're alright there, and I can't see any big oil leaks anywhere. Any big air leaks. Now, this job, changing this turbo, is definitely not for the faint-hearted. Oh, this is painful. So what we had to remove was, so there's the tubing, it comes out and it's held on with two, I think there's E7 Torx, and then there's another bolt at the bottom there. So you have to take that off, because you can't get that to rise up on the car if you don't. So that's an E10, an E7 Torx as well. Then you have to remove the EGR valve. It's just two bolts at the top, but you've got to wiggle it back and forward. That was tight. Then you have to remove this. I'll show you where this goes. The intake valve, so the intake, and it goes on to this rubber hose at the bottom there, this bit here, and it's held on with two 10mm bolts. You get bolted onto the turbo there at the back, and there's like bits and pieces here as well. It's got to come off. Like various 8 or 10mm bolts to retract this back. And then you get one of the bolts out the turbo. Got that top bolt out, but the other two are underneath. So heaven knows how we're going to get them off. And then we took the pipe, it runs for the EGR right along to there. I'll show you that. There's that pipe there. You got to just take, there's a bolt at the back there, and then this, just use a bar, and this slides along, and it pops out. So you must get that off as well. Took the shield off the back. So it's held on with these silly little bolts. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that sits along the bulkhead. And then the air ducting, that came off as a 1. For the air filter, all the way up to that Jubilee clip. And we even removed the battery. There's the battery out as well, to try and clear a bit of room here. But I'm ready to give up, to be honest with you. So the DPF's down the back, and the subframe's down the back. That's maybe the only solution to get this thing off. So I'll keep you updated. This job is horrendous to get access to the turbo. So I spoke to everybody. You asked Dave Sterling. If in doubt, just phone everybody. So a man that gave me good tips this time was Peter Kennedy. Watch his YouTube channel. So what he said is take the drive shaft out, drop the subframe, remove the DPF, and you should get access to this turbo. So that's the stage we're at. So the drive shaft is now out. I'll show you that. So there's the drive shaft there in all its glory. And I'll take you underneath and show you what we've removed. We then managed to split the DPF from the exhaust flange. And then there's brackets hold the DPF on. And there's also ones at the side here. I think that's for the EGR. They're all 13mm bolts. Now Peter said drop the subframe, but we're going to hopefully be able to access these bolts without dropping the subframe, because I think you can see up there, we can see the turbo bottom bolts right in just above the DPF there and there. So let's hope we can get access to that. But the key to this job was this little guy here. Get plenty heat on it to turn these bolts, because it's not achievable any other way bar getting heat in them, because you're near the exhaust. So we'll keep going, see how we get on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, after a struggle, the turbo is out. And as you can see, there's oil everywhere. It's not too bad that side, but this side's on a shaky peg. It's actually tightened itself up with the cold, but the turbo's gone. So there's these 2 bolts that we had to get out from underneath 10mm, and I had to heat them repeatedly in order to get them off. And that other one comes for the top, but not a good job. I'll show you for the top. There's the gap you're left with. And you have to retract the DPF back to that side. See how it's wobbling? As I said, we didn't have to touch the subframe, so we're lucky in that respect. There was just enough room to do it. There's the oil feed pipe just right there. Probably need to get new O-rings for that. In fact, should maybe get a new oil feed pipe and return pipe, because seemingly they can block on the feed and the return. There's the vacuum hose. It goes to the turbo actuator. What else? There's a return pipe down the bottom there. They're little 8mm bolts. There's one of them there. But the key to this job is really patience and plenty of heat. Do not rush it. You'll end up rounding the bolts and you'll be in major trouble. As I said to you earlier on, the EGR valve comes off. And that's it. Anything else, Roddy? Okay, it's eking out of there. Well, there's a return pipe there. I don't know if it's blocked or not. See, the return pipe splits, so we just got the 2 bolts out for that. Here, I was saying the other day, wobbling like mad. It's not too bad today. Right. Maybe it's just the way it's lying. Don't try it yourself. It's past an aisle, that's it. Past an aisle, oh, you got wobbles? Ah, it's wobbly. Right, last job is you have to remove the intercooler. So you can see that we've took it off, and the amount of oil coming out of the thing is intercooler there. So we're taking that to get cleaned. In order to remove this for the car, you squeeze, see these tabs, these tabs at the bottom, then you wedge it out. There's another tab at the side as well. But before you take the intercooler off, you've got to remove the bumper. And I'll show you that. To remove the bumper, you have to take these little, you use a cat's claw to remove them. And there's a couple of mounting holes just up the top here. In fact, I'll show you on the bumper. You take the full man jack off. There we go. So there's the bumper. And these are the two, there's bolts. Go to these two top bits. 10mm bolts, you've got to locate them. And it's the same. It's the same at the other side. Two 10mm bolts. Then you have a series of connectors. I think that's for the headlight washer pump. There's one there. And there's one there as well. You've also got another connector down there. And oh, there's a connector up there as well. You have to disconnect. New turbo has arrived. You've got to transfer the oil return pipe, and you get a new gasket with that. Incidentally, you get new studs, but you don't get new nuts, so you have to transfer them over. It comes with the actuator, and I think you've got to pre-fill this with oil, and I'll let you know. What else is here? No, I think it's fairly straightforward, this one. This thing actually drove all right, but what we're going to do is resetting of learn values of component turbocharger because we've changed it. So let's hit this. So combustion at a standstill, parking brake is applied, put the parking brake on ready. Engine speed 0, so we'll continue with F3. Reset teaching, so not started, so F3, so to start the teaching process, we'll hit F3 down here. The teaching was complete, successful, okay, so that's it done. So just take it a drive, my man. See. I can't see stated. There's no any other teaching process. It's only the turbo that we've been at, so. And that fault code there is only because we disconnected the fuel inlet metering valve to crank her over to get her oil pressure up before we initially started her. So, but you should see that was stored in current, it's now moved to stored. So that's why that one's here. Car's finally fixed. That's us on the open road. No more whining noise, thank goodness. I'd like to see some of the boost pressures. So we're just still heating the thing up, but you can see that we're already above 1,000 bar here. There we go, we're 13, 14. Oh, look at that, I can change. Oh, there we go, I've just discovered something. I can change the measurement, yes, no matter. So we'll graph it. So there's our boost pressure there. Get a wee gun ready. So we've got the temperature up a bit here, so we can give it a wee bit of squeeze going up the road here. So there you go, there's 2000 HPA. So it's going fine. I think we'll call that a fix.